Okay, yes, the title is a joke. Kind of. Did I go into this movie expecting to shit the hell out of the two main characters? Absolutely not. No. Do you know what Netflix has this movie classified as? Not as a romance film, that's for sure. Hey, how are you? I hope you're well. We are going to be talking about one of my new favorite movies. I just have to say. V for Vendetta.
The only verdict is vengeance. A vendetta. Revolution without dancing is a revolution not worth having.
I'm gonna talk about some of the more serious stuff first, and then we're gonna get into the, fun stuff that made me excited. The shallow stuff that makes me excited. This movie is obviously a social issues commentary, and I do appreciate it as such. It takes place after a world war where England survives and becomes a police state under an oppressive fascist government where people who are different are black-bagged.
A yellow-coated code is now in effect. Any unauthorized personnel will be subject to arrest.
This movie does have some darker themes to it, like corruption, SA, racism, homophobia, and war, and an epidemic, but nothing too graphic is shown, by the way, just to let you know. Those are the themes that they are dealing with. Okay, this may sound stupid, but movies like these really do make me think, especially at the end of this one, when Evie had the choice to blow up the parliament. For a second, I put myself in her shoes and I wondered what I would do, you know? Would I be brave enough to blow up the building? I, of course, did not go through the fear training course that Evie was put through by V, so I'm sure that helped, but we'll talk more about both of those things in a bit. So just a quick thing, despite the themes I mentioned earlier, I want to keep this more lighthearted, so I'm not really going to be talking about those heavy, dark themes. I also was really tired when I was watching the movie, so I wasn't being super analytical when I watched it, so there's that. But I do want to mention that they're there, and that because it's a very important part of the world, and it needs to change, and that's V's whole thing. So they're trying to change the world, or England, at least for the better. One day I might do a more in-depth, serious review of this movie, more analytical, but for today we're going to keep it light, and we're just going to be talking about some more surface level things. So the main characters are Evie and V. Evie is a normal girl at first, and V is considered to be a masked terrorist. V is very theatrical, which is amazing. He knows a lot of Shakespeare, as does Evie, and he has plans to change England for the better. He believes that by blowing up the parliament, the people will see it as a symbol to get their act together. He also calls everyone out on the emergency TV system.
How did this happen? Who's to blame? Well, certainly there are those who are more responsible than others, and they will be held accountable. But again, truth be told, if you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
One thing I really liked about this movie was the different perspectives we got, from Evie and V's to the detectives and the times with the Chancellor to the families and the people watching TV. I think those shots of the people watching TV, like the families in the nursing home, really helped flesh out the world. And the two detectives trying to find V, we get to see them slowly realize how secretive and corrupt the government they work for really is, which I'm sure they already knew to an extent with the bugs and stuff, but we get to see them be like, wait a minute. I mean, at the end, when the detective just let Evie pull the lever to blow up the parliament, that's character development, baby. Speaking of character development, we get quite a bit of it in this movie, which I'm so here for. V, Evie, the detectives, the families and the old people, everybody grew.
For 20 years, I saw only this day. Nothing else existed. Until I saw you. And everything changed. I fell in love with you, Evie. I no longer believed I could.
They became inspired, and I love it. Okay, now on to the more ridiculous, jumbled stuff that I'm excited about. I don't think I'm smart enough to truly enjoy this movie to its fullest extent. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, and I do appreciate it as a social issues drama, okay? I do, but I'm weak, and when I see a character that truly cares for another, I can't help myself. My inner 14-year-old emo Tumblr shipping self makes an appearance, okay? I did think it was kind of weird though when she kissed his mask, just a little. I felt like it was a little too close up. Here's my favorite scene. When V kidnapped Evie and she woke up to him making eggs on toast in a flowery apron. Oh my gosh, I think I about died. This is my favorite shot. It just is. Forget the social commentary, forget the prophecies, which I'll get to in a second. I want more domestic breakfast cooking in a flowery apron. I would watch a full-length feature film of just that, if I'm being honest. When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm for sure drawing this. I knew immediately. I love it so much. One thing I found to be really funny was when V killed that guy on TV whose name escapes me, and Evie was like, what? Did you do that?
Nationwide were devastated as news of the most popular,
Wait, what's this?
most awarded stars in the history of the BTN, a man known to the entire nation as the Voice of London, passed away late last night from apparent heart failure.
Did you have anything to do with that?
Yes, I killed him.
Oh God.
You're upset?
I'm upset you just said you killed Louis Prothero.
Violence can be used for good.
What are you talking about?
Justice.
I see. And are you going to kill more people?
Yes.
Are you gonna kill more people? What? And she was so surprised. Like, girl, he blew up a building right in front of you, and you know his plans to blow up the parliament. Why are you surprised? This movie is similar to the comic book Undiscovered Country in the way that it's weirdly prophetic, with the whole virus thing. Well, I guess in this movie it's an epidemic, and in Undiscovered Country it's a pandemic, but I also don't think it was a bioweapon in Undiscovered Country, but I could be wrong. But to be honest, you just have to say lots of people sick, and my dumb little walnut brain will go, oh, like COVID, must be a prophecy. And I have to mention Undiscovered Country anytime I can, because it's so good. Go read it, the art is incredible. Okay, when Evie was in the fake prison, I kept waiting for V to show up. I actually thought the guy in the dark interrogating her was V, because it sounded like his voice, but then I was like, nah. But then, when he was like,
Then you have no fear anymore. You're completely free.
you have no fear, we're done, and she just walked right into his house, I was like, what? You did this? It's okay, forgive him. Seriously, I don't think I watched this movie the way it was meant to be watched. I was like, yeah, social commentary, ship. I'm like a Twitter stan for V and Evie. Again, I appreciate the message. I don't know what came over me when I was watching this though, like all of the wholesome little moments, like the apron thing. That's what I needed to see, I guess. He literally tortured her though and made her think she was gonna die. And then he was like, but I hated myself while I was doing it. I mean, I guess she forgave him, so we can too. That's how that works, right?
Got us in the rain.
One weird thing with the whole Larkhill explosion, when the woman said that she knew he was looking at her even though he didn't have any eyes, and then it showed his lack of eyes, I had a dream not too long ago where I saw pretty much that exact same thing.
I was trying to understand how it could have happened when I saw him, the man from row 5. He looked at me, not with eyes. There were no eyes. But I know he was looking at me because I felt it.
I saw a very charred human that looked like that, but I hadn't seen this movie. I think I'm just psychic with movies, because I've literally hallucinated or dreamt things that have happened in movies, or like villains, before these movies came out. Valerie's autobiography made me cry when she said,
But what I hope most of all is that you understand what I mean when I tell you that even though I do not know you, and even though I may never meet you, laugh with you, cry with you, or kiss you, I love you. With all my heart, I love you. Valerie.
tears. I wept. Oh my gosh. And then when Evie thought she was gonna be executed and she was holding the autobiography, ugh, I was moved. Another scene that I loved was when he was like,
We have guns. No, what you have are bullets. And the hope that when your guns are empty, I'm no longer standing. Because if I am, you'll all be dead before you've reloaded.
I know I shouldn't root for him to kill people, but he was kind of a badass, and who am I to criticize badassery when I myself wouldn't even survive a single bullet wound, probably. Also, the guy was a total creep, so... Now, do I support Evie's decision to blow up the parliament? Do you know how loud I was whisper yelling at my computer, do it, do it, do it, blow it up? Although, again, I did for a second wonder what I would do in her shoes. And again, I don't know if I would have the guts to blow up a building. maybe. I mean, it's pretty bad, their government, so actually, for legal reasons, no, I would not do it. For legal reasons, I would not blow up a building. Hypothetically, I mean, I don't know if things get bad enough, but for legal reasons, no. I support her decision, though. I absolutely support her decision to do so. I'm concerned about how he can breathe through that mask.
My fat metal friend.
I'm sure it gets unbearably hot. It does not seem pleasant, but then again, I too would die for my aesthetic, so I get it. Okay, part of the reason why this is so jumbled is because I feel like a lot of people probably love this movie as a social issues commentary sci-fi, and I'm sure it has a lot of weight and meaning to people, and I'm just kind of like, yay, relationship, more domestic flower apron. I swear I'm not usually like this. I'm usually like way too overly analytical, and with this movie I'm just taking a more surface level approach for some reason. Like, I didn't watch Taxi Driver and just ship Travis and Betsy the whole time. I didn't ship them at all because I knew Travis was a creep. You can tell by the way he talks. Anyway, Travis is worse, and V is literally a terrorist. I think I was too tired to be analytical, so I just enjoyed the movie at face value for once, which is so weird. I do understand why people would love this film as a message, though, you know, fighting against the terrible things the government was doing, but also the terrible things that were normalized, like the essay with the bishop and the fingermen and the racism and stuff like that. No freedom. I do understand that. I guess there are a few ways you can watch this movie. You can watch the movie as a movie, or you can watch the movie as a political message. What did you think about V for Vendetta? Did you like it for its social commentary, or just because? Maybe later I'll do a more in-depth review of this movie and I'll think about it more. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.